Well, greetings to each of you, and welcome to another episode of The Shakedown, a podcast by corrections, about corrections, and for corrections. I am your host, Aaron Dawson. Good to be with you again as we continue on this journey that is The Shakedown. I want to talk about today some things answering the question, what in the world is going on in the world of corrections? Constantly looking at different news articles and different headlines that are coming through about corrections. Want to bring them to you and stir up a conversation, maybe stir up a thought, maybe stir up some things that you might be able to inform yourself about, your agency about, and apply them in your agency. Question that has been a semi-hot topic over the last decade or so has been whether or not body cameras are actually a useful tool. Do they benefit us? Do they harm us? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? What is the deal with the body cameras? Well, one state recently conducted a pilot program, and as a part of that pilot program, statewide, they distributed over 1,000 body cameras in 22 different facilities, and they tested to see when their staff wore body cameras, what was the results. And so they saw after a year of wearing those body cameras, they saw a 40% drop in serious incidents and a 60% drop in any PREA allegations. And so just by this state's research, we can see that body cameras, the presence and the use of body cameras, though from a correctional officer standpoint, it makes us be more aware of what we're saying and what's going on. But the inmates also take notice of that body camera, and there is evidence right there in front of them of what took place, who said what, so forth and so on. So it seems to be, based on this project or this research project, that there is an actual reduction in serious incidents in our facility. So I thought that was interesting. Another article that came down was two senators, one from Pennsylvania and one from New Mexico, introduced a bill in September of this year called the Interdiction of Fentanyl at Federal Prisons Act. And as a part of that bill, now this has just been introduced, it has not been passed as of now, but it is mandating the increase of security measures dealing with incoming mail, seeing the huge spike in different drugs, especially fentanyl, though, being sent in to facilities through the mail. This act would increase funding and increase procedures and policies at facilities around the country to screen these incoming mail things for the potential of having drugs in them. I will tell you that is an awesome thing. I hope that states across the country will mirror this legislation and provide the tools that are necessary for us to do our jobs in a way that keeps us safe. And then a third article that came across deals with the ever-present question of how do we retain officers that come and work within our facilities? How do we encourage, motivate, entice, whatever word you want to use, them to to come and work in our facilities? And then once they are there, what is it that works to keep them there? And there's this constant debate about, is pay scale, is that a big deal? Retirement and benefits, are those big deals? The work environment, ease with which there's a path for promotion, all these different factors that weigh in, that come into play. And in my experience in conversations with people, it's all anecdotal. It's just, well, I've seen this, or I've seen this, or I don't think that this works, or I don't think that works, or I think this would work. And there's been very little data to back up all these opinions that are being expressed by all these different people in all these different circumstances. Well, one state actually dealing with severe staff shortages increase the pay, actually the starting pay, a few times, and then they did a study to see whether or not those increases in pay, did that make a difference in the retention levels of their staff. And they found that over a year's time, they saw a 30% reduction in turnover. So there was a 30% reduction of people that were there that left, and they saw a little over a 15% increase in staffing overall. And so they surmised from this data that the increases in pay did in fact play a role in keeping staff. And I know for those of you that are administrators, those of you that are looking at your staff and saying, okay, what is it that we can do? Now granted, pay is not all there is. Absolutely. The environment, the supervision, the leadership, all the factors that go into this. Sure. They have also, the same state over the last few years has offered sign-on bonuses of a variety of forms. And so they, coupling that with a 5% increase in the salaries, saw that these things did benefit their staff retention, not just increasing the starting pay, but maybe you could say, well, we can't afford to increase the starting pay, and have it be, everybody across the board. Well, is it possible that you could have a sign-on bonus? Is it possible that you could have a loyalty bonus where if someone stays for 2 years, they get this bonus. If they stay for 3, 4, 5 years, so forth and so on. The data is showing that these are bearing good results when it comes to trying to keep and trying to maintain our staffing levels. So just a snapshot of what's going on in the world of corrections. I hope that's informative to you. I hope that's encouraging to you. Glad to be able to spend this time with you on this episode of the podcast. As always, please check out other episodes. If you've missed some, you can go to theshakedown.org. That is the website for the podcast. Now, I will tell you, those are just the audio files, which if that's what you prefer, that's where you go. If you prefer the video, you can go to YouTube, search the Shakedown Podcast, NIJO, and you will find the whole list of all 3 seasons of this podcast. If you check us out on YouTube, hit that like, hit that subscribe. It makes a huge difference in increasing the reach that we're trying to accomplish with the podcast. Look forward to the next time being able to interact with you here. But in the meantime, stay sharp, stay safe, stay vigilant.